API URL. Then we got username password for authenticating with API. And
Hey guys, good morning, good evening, good afternoon. So again, today, as I mentioned yesterday, today I'm going to review code, especially the project code, and we will the last week specifically focus on the GitHub API integration plus self-scripting. So today we are going to understand the code that we already written. So that is today's plan, and yeah. So welcome to everyone this early morning live session, especially Sunday morning live session, and yeah. So we will start already for that. We will start. Thank you.
api.github.com. After that, if you remember, I have exported the username and bash first documentation. I've shown you the GitHub API documentation, and using the GitHub API documentation, taking help of it, I've written this script. So what did I do first is, for a shell scripting, you always have to start with this shebang followed by how you are writing the shell script, right? Here I'm writing the shell script in the bash. If you are writing in sh, just replace this with sh. If you are writing in bash, then keep this particular syntax as the first line. And then I'm saying this is my API URL, api.github.com. After that, if you remember, I have exported the username and the token, because whoever is reading this script, they should not know your username and they should not know your token, because both of them are sensitive information. So that's why what I have done is, when I am writing the shell script, I am taking these things from the terminal or from the environment, right? So whoever executes this script, instead of hard coding those values in the script, you can export those values on your Linux terminal, and then the script can read them, right? After that, this is the information that we are passing. What exactly we are passing? For example, here I said DevOps by examples Python, and these values are the command line arguments, right? This is the script, and these are the command line arguments that I am providing to the script. And command line arguments can be read in this way. $1 indicates this command line argument, $2 indicates this command line argument, right? So repo owner and repo name. In this case, repo owner or the organization name is DevOps by examples, and this is the repo name. So now we got the GitHub API URL, then we got username password for authenticating with GitHub API, and I have the details of where to fetch these things from. That means for which repository it is required. Now all that I'm doing in these two functions, okay, I have split this into two functions, but you can write this in one single function as well. In this function, I am just phrasing the URL. That is, I'm just forming this particular URL, api.github.com, followed by the API. Okay, this does not read a function, but to write efficiently, what you need to do is create a function for it, and in the function you can phrase the entire curl command, right? So how I am forming the curl command? So here I am getting what is the endpoint. Okay, let's start from here so that it will be very simple for you. So my end goal is to form this particular entire command that you are seeing. Okay, when I'm writing this script, what I have decided is I will form this entire curl command. Okay, this entire curl command I will form in the different function, and what I will do is rest all things I will execute in a different function. So that's what I'm doing here. So I'm forming the curl command. What is the output of this function, or what is the final thing of this function? It is forming the curl command. Whereas this function here, it is trying to print the output, right? Uh, if we execute this particular function, it is printing some output, right? If you execute this particular script with the DevOps by examples and Python, this is the output that you are seeing. So what I'm doing, for taking inputs and printing output, I have created a function, and then I have created a different function just for forming the API URL and all the parameters that are required for the API. That is the curl command and all the things. And I have DevOps by examples and Python. This is the output that you are seeing. So what I'm doing, for taking inputs and printing output, I have created a function, and then I have created a different function just for forming the API URL and all the parameters that are required for the API. That is the curl command and all the things in a different function, inputs and output in a different function, right? So here, if you see this function, this has nothing. What is it doing? It is basically calling this particular function, right? See here, what is it doing? It is just invoking the function with the required information. And then what it is doing, it is using JQ to get the output. I'll make it very simple. Don't worry if you did not understand, okay, what exactly this function is doing. Firstly, it is taking the input of what exactly is the endpoint. Okay, here what is the endpoint means? This particular thing. Repos, owner, repo issues. So this is the API and this is the API endpoint. So I've taken this API endpoint as an input here, which is hard coded, because this particular shell script only does list users and it does not anything else. So that's why we can hard code this information. So firstly, I have hard coded this, right? After that, what I am doing is I am invoking this particular function, which is creating the curl command, right? How I am invoking? I am just passing this particular endpoint so that this entire curl command is formed, right? This entire curl command is formed. Now, once this command is formed, what I am doing is I am executing this curl command. And once the executed information is done, what github.com will do, when you execute this particular API, it will give you entire JSON information. GitHub.com or most of the APIs, they will only give JSON information. That means, let's say for this particular function, if I remove this JQ thing, okay, this will be very interesting. Please watch it carefully. So what I am going to do is I am going to remove this JQ thing. Then you will notice that GitHub is actually giving you the JSON information. Okay, let me just close the bracket. And most of the APIs will give you JSON information. Depending upon the programming language, you have to use different modules and you have to get the required information. For example, now if I execute this, see, you got the JSON output. Whereas using JQ, what I have done is from this entire information, I just need the username. That is, what is the login name of the particular user who has access. That is Mohit436. See here, when I am taking the JSON information, you see that there are three users. One is I am Viramala, then another is Bhavya Bojnapalli, and another is Mohit. Now, why did I print only Mohit? Because the reason for that is both of these people are admins and I already know they have access to it, because let's say they are from the DevOps team, and you already know, because they are from the DevOps team, they have admin access to it and they have all the permissions. But what my focus is to print only the list of developers or list of people who can read this repository and write to this repository, and not the admins or the owners of this repository. How do I get that information? So in the JSON, there is one particular field called permission. Inside the permission, there is something called admin, true or false. My focus is to print only the list of developers or list of people who can read this repository and write to this repository, and not the admins or the owners of this repository. How do I get that information? So in the JSON, there is one particular field called permission. Inside the permission, there is something called admin, true or false. How do print only the list of developers or list of people who can read this repository and write to this repository, and not the admins or the owners of this repository. How do I get that information? So in the JSON, there is one particular field called permission. Inside the permission, there is something called admin, true or false. So here for Mohit, admin is false. Whereas if you check this one, I am Viramala, permissions admin is true, right? Whereas for Mohit, permissions admin is false. So that's why what I am doing in the shell script, if you go back to the project, using JQ, I am just selecting permissions pull is equals to true, right? Here, permissions pull is equals to true. I am using this parameter. If you use permissions admin, that is also fine. But here what I'm using is one particular field when I've written this shell script. But you can choose any of these fields to determine if you want to get only Mohit or if you want to get Bhavya plus Abhishek as well. So you can play on these fields basically. Okay.
So guys, I completed my first block. So as I mentioned, you can see actually this is focused on understanding the code, and this part of the code since I removed the formatting or like the JSON partial formatting. So once I removed the output, now come in the fully JSON format. So you can see it's kind of a key and value or key and value if you already know dictionary, Python or like JSON data. It's all about kind of key and value pair style. So you can see the output are now retrieved from the key and value pair. So it's include all the information since we expecting the script need to be written like only for users those who have the specific permission. But once we remove that and the JSON parsing format or JSON parser, there's a technique. If you already see my code, you understand what I'm trying to say. So once I remove that part, you can see the difference, the output. Earlier we got only my username, like my name only I got 70s, but now the JSON output. So like you can see this the permission like from full true, push true, and maintain the admin. So it's depend on the since I'm the one who have access of my account. So since I don't have any person, so it's giving my access permission. So since I am admin, like I have all the access. So yeah. So again, as I mentioned, today is all about understanding the code, and maybe I will continue until 6 since I have other work as well after 6. So let's see. And yeah, let's continue after small break. Thank you.
But going back, one if I check there is more unjust that is information is that GitHub is actually giving you the JSON information. Okay, let me just close the bracket. And most of the APIs will give you JSON information. Depending upon the programming language, you have to use different modules and you have to get the required information. For example, now if I execute this, see, you got the JSON output. Whereas using JQ, what I have done is from this entire information, I just need the username. That is, what is the login name of the particular user who has access. That is Mohit436. See here, when I am taking the JSON information, you see that there are three users. One is I am Viramala, then another is Bhavya Bojnapalli, and another is Mohit. Now, why did I print only Mohit? Because the reason for that is both of these people are admins and I already know they have access to it, because let's say they are from the DevOps team, and you already know because they are from the DevOps team, they have admin access to it and they have all the permissions. But what my focus is to print only the list of developers or list of people who can read this repository and write to this repository, and not the admins or the owners of this repository. How do I get that information? So in the JSON, there is one particular field called permission. Inside the permission, there is something called admin, true or false. So here for Mohit, admin is, there is something called, in the JSON, there is one particular field called permission. Inside the permission, there is something called admin, true or false. So here for Mohit, admin is false. Whereas if you check this one, I am Viramalla, permissions admin is true, right? Whereas for Mohit, permissions admin is false. So that's why what I am doing in the shell script, if you go back to the project, using JQ, I am just selecting permissions pull is equals to true, right? Here, permissions pull is equals to true. I'm using this parameter. If you use permissions admin, that is also fine. But here, what I'm using is one particular field when I've written this shell script. But you can choose any of these fields to determine if you want to get only Mohit or if you want to get Bhavya plus Abhishek as well. So you can play on these fields basically. Okay, but going back, so what I've done is using JQ, I have selected what type of users do I need, and then I am printing their login name, right? So in JQ, it is very simple. Whichever fields that you want to get, you just have to use dot and followed by the field. For example, here, this is one JSON object. Mohit has one JSON object. Abhishek has one JSON object. And then Bhavya also has a JSON object. So what you need to do inside this JSON object, let's say you want to get the value of permissions admin. What you will do is you will just simply write JQ space dot permissions dot admin, right? See, that is what I did. Dot permissions dot pull. Okay, I choose this particular parameter. But Using this particular statement, what I am saying is if dot permissions dot pull is equals to true. Okay, dot permissions dot pull is equals to true, then print the dot login. Okay, that is print the username. Where exactly it is? Yeah, print the username, that is login, and you will get this particular output. Got it? So why are we using JQ exactly? Is instead of printing this entire JSON information, if you want to get only particular information from the JSON payload, in shell scripting you will use JQ. Whereas if you are using Python, you will use the request module. Depending upon programming language, you will change this particular thing. But going back to the thing, in this particular function, I have taken the input, what exactly is the endpoint. Then, I am just calling this function, which is creating the curl command, and then I am executing the curl command, and I am getting the required information using JQ. Finally, what I am doing is I am printing the list of users. Okay, so here, what this if block indicates, if the list of collaborators, that is output of this particular thing, in our case output is Mohit, right? If list of collaborators is empty, then print no user has read access. Whereas if the list of collaborators is not empty, then you print the list of collaborators names. In our case, the list of collaborator names is printed, that is Mohit, right? So this exactly is what the function is doing, or the entire shell script is doing. Now, how can you improve this shell script? Basically, what you can do is firstly write the comment section for it. That is, write the about script section. This you can take an assignment, because this is very, very simple and it does not impact the function overall or the script overall. So what you can do here is write the about of the script, what exactly the script will do, right? What are the input parameters that are required to the script? That is, you have to export your username, then you have to export your password, and then you have to provide two input things. And then you can say who is the owner of this script. If there are any issues, whom you should contact, right? These are the things that you will add to the script. And then what you can also do is you can add a helper function. So to add a helper function, what you can do, see, watch the script carefully. Most of the, so, and then to export your password, and then you have to provide two input things. And then you can say who is the owner of this script. If there are any issues, whom you should contact, right? These are the things that you will add to the script. And then what you can also do is you can add a helper function. So to add a helper function, what you can do, see, watch the script carefully. Most of the shell scripts have helper functions. That is, let's say you are executing the script wrong. Let's say someone is not reading your script and just executing list users.sh. Currently, it will just throw you an error, right? Saying that the output of the script is wrong. But what I want to print here is whenever someone executes this list user.sh without giving the command line arguments, then I have to tell them that your way of executing the script is wrong. For that, what you can do is you can just write something like this, helper function, right? And inside the helper function, what you can say is, if you can start with this particular thing, which says if the list of command line arguments, okay, if the list of command line arguments is not equal to, okay, if the list of command line arguments is not equals to, how many command line arguments are we passing? Let's say we can create a variable as well. Here I'll say expected cmd underscore args is equals to 2, for example. Then here we can say if number of command line arguments is not equals to this particular thing, then what I can do is, then I can simply say echo please execute the script with required cmd args. And you can also print a few things about the required cmd args. That's what you will get, right? Let's say you are executing please execute the script with required cmd args. And you can also print a few things about the required cmd args. That's what you will get, right? Let's say you are executing kubectl command in a wrong way, then you will get some error, or you will get some hints. So how you can write those errors or helps hints is using the helper functions. And what you can do is basically, so here I wrote a helper function, but I need to invoke the helper function as well, right? So for that, what you can do is you can call the helper function at the starting of your script. So here you can call the helper function. And what it will do is, when you're calling it at the beginning of your script, it will first invoke this particular function, and it will see if the function is created properly or not. I mean, if the function, if the shell script is executed properly or not. Only if the shell script is executed properly. By executed properly, I mean the user has given all the required parameters. Sorry, I shouldn't have said executed properly. If the shell script is invoked with all the required parameters, then move with the next lines of the script. If user has not provided all the required information, then you can fail the script here itself, saying that hey, please execute the script with all the required parameters. So this is your assignment. It's very simple. I've already written the code. I thought I'll just give it as an assignment, but later I wrote the script as well while I'm explaining. So this is the helper function, and this is the comment section that you have to write so that this script is full-fledged. Got it? But you can also execute it. If you don't have an organization, create an organization and create a repo. It should not take more than 5 minutes for you to create org and create a repo. And after that, let's say you are already working in your organization, you can try this script and you can execute it. So this way, if you have 100 repositories, 1000 repositories, you can simply write a for loop for in list of all your repositories, and then you can execute this script one time, 10 times, 100 times, and you can get list of users who have access to it, right? So now I hope this video is clear, right? The reason why I'm doing it again is because some people did not find day 8 complete, or some people felt that it needs more attention. So that's why I did this video again. I'll add this video also to the DevOps Zero to Hero playlist right after day 8, right? I'll provide the name as day 8 take 2 so people can watch this one as well as the previous video. Thank you so much for watching today's video. I hope this information is useful. In future, I'll make more and more interesting videos, so please subscribe to the channel if you haven't. Take care, everyone. Bye bye. server through the CLI as well. So if you see, the file is created, and the file is created in the IP address. This is the.
Hello everyone. So my name is Abhishek. Welcome back to my channel. So today we're at day 12 and I have a very special guest on the channel. That's Kunal.
So guys, actually it's the project code review, but I already completed. I think that meta information at the same time there's a remaining but as one helper function need to be added. Then I will add that in later. Maybe I'm not attending lives this live, but I am going to add that helper function in the later part. And yeah, so later I will add today maybe. So yeah, so we almost completed this project, and yeah, so it's almost. I think we took 3 days. I think yeah, if I'm right, I think we took 3 days because I think I started Friday, right? Or Thursday, I'm not sure about that. Okay, so we took around 3 days. So from tomorrow onwards, we will start a new project, and I think it's a day 12 project. I think if I'm right. Yeah, so it's I think the project. Wait, I will show that the project. Yeah, you can see this is the project tomorrow we are going to work on.
So yeah,
So this is the project. So day 12 deploy and export your first step to AWS. So this is the live project we are going to implement tomorrow. And I don't think it's around look like it's 1 hour plus, or maybe even I take 3 to 4 days, depend on my pace. So let's see. Okay, so this is the projects are going to deploy tomorrow. So going to start. I think most probably will start tomorrow. And yeah, so today I'm going to stop the live session from now on, and since I want to go outside after around 6:30. So yeah, so this is the plan, and I already yesterday mentioned. So today is most probably the code review, and yeah, so thank you so much those who have joined this Sunday live morning. So I know this is Sunday today, Sunday. Yes, I can take rest. Some people have said, but I don't want. Let's continue. We'll see. Yes, I am going to take a break if I need. I will mention if I want to take a break. I already mentioned the post. I will inform that other story. So and yeah, so we will continue tomorrow morning, and we will start that project. And yeah, so thank you so much those who have joined and encouraging me. And yeah, so we will continue tomorrow morning. And yes, have a great Sunday. Thank you. So there's someone asked, brother, what are you doing? So actually, if you see that there's a link I added, if you are new to this live stream, please read this. So this India live session is all about learning or mastering machine learning operations or MLOps. So as I mentioned, it is a bit around 6 months plan. So it's learning. So for learn machine learning operation, you should have strong foundation around DevOps. So DevOps mean development operation. So like you know, if you know DevOps, you know the fundamental of the basic like Linux scripting and like containerization, like Docker, Kubernetes, and like Terraform, like CI/CD pipelines. So these kind of the overlap skills in when it's come to machine learning operations. So if even I want to somehow better weights machine learning operation or MLOps is an extension of DevOps. So it's another layer. It's a top of MLOps is a top of DevOps. Okay, so it's kind of if you build a foundation, it's a DevOps, then you can build another layer from the top of from the bottom layer. Okay, so I hope you what I'm trying to say here. So this is the idea. So here I'm learning DevOps from using free resources. I think it's high value, highly reputed resources. I know this resource very well because the mentor or the author is very well knowledgeable in this domain, Abhishek. So yeah, so I plan to continue the DevOps. I think is India playlist. Let's see, maybe skip there are another cloud platform. I think 2 cloud platform. So I skipped that one cloud maybe now because since I also focus on machine learning side as well. So maybe I will start machine learning. I don't know when I start. Actually, I already have background in ML, another story because since I'm doing MSc. So Yeah, so this is the plan. Once we complete the DevOps, maybe around September. Let's see. I'm not sure about that, and we'll see. Maybe around September, I will start my machine learning. Let's see how long. My pace may look like my pace bit slow comparing to others. It's fine. Yeah, this is the idea. So someone asked the questions. I already mentioned this my that Notion template. Maybe I will update much better way. Anyway, thank you for the question. And yeah, so we will continue tomorrow morning as usual 4:30 am. And thank you so much those who are joined and those who are asking question and those who are encouraging me. Thank you so much.